Party people, welcome once again to the Party of One podcast, the actual play RPG podcast where the gaming table is always set for two. I am your host as always, Jeff Stormer. This week on the show, I am joined by Shannon and Carey from the Room Where It Happened podcast for a game of John Harper's Lady Blackbird, Adventures in the Wild Blue Yonder. Lady Blackbird is a game of sky piracy, forbidden romance, and high fantasy adventure inspired by things like Star Wars, The Princess Bride, and the works of Hayao Miyazaki. It is incredible, and I'm really excited for you to get to hear this game, because it's very good, and it hit me in the heart a lot. You can find more about Lady Blackbird in the show notes. The Room Where It Happened is an actual play podcast focused on communal world building and having fun. There's magic, car chases, LGBTQ characters, romance, and danger around every turn. You can find more information at theroomwhereithappened.podbean.com. Two quick announcements before we dive in. One, if you haven't done so, please go vote today, because it's really important, and things aren't great in the world right now, and voting is a little thing that we can do to kind of make them not a horrible hellscape at all times. So please go vote. Check out Vote Save America for more information. Two, don't forget about Mission Accomplished, the role-playing game of super spies and office meetings. We have one stretch goal left, less than $1,000 to hit it, or I should say one stretch goal that you know about. Less than $1,000 to hit it. Just over a week left in the campaign. We are heading into our final week. I could not be more excited. I hope you'll check out the game on Kickstarter. Mission accomplished. It's real good. And with all that said, let's throw it over to me in the past so that he can get started with the show. Take it, past me. Thanks, future me. This week, I am sitting down with Shannon Carey. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on Party of One.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
So, real quick, at the top of the show, why don't you take a moment to let the audience at home know about any projects you're working on, any cool stuff you want them to know about, that sort of thing.
Okay, cool. I'm actually a freelance journalist. I live in Knoxville, Tennessee. That's not necessarily germane to what we're doing here today. That's what I do for a living. This other stuff is for fun. So I play Tessa on the Room Where It Happened podcast. We're a bunch of musical theater nerds as well as being RPG nerds. It is a game of Hack Together 5th edition D&D based on communal world building and having fun with friends. And right now we are playing in the city of Loom, which is a kind of a rune punk, modern flair type of setting. So if you are into live play podcasts that have car chases along with magic and elves and dragonborn and all of those fun things, we've also got LGBTQ characters and romances, then come on and give us a listen. The Room Where It Happened, past tense, or you'll get a lot of Hamilton stuff.
That's a valid distinction. That's an important distinction to make. Mm-hmm. So this week we are playing Lady Blackbird by John Harper. It is a game of high fantasy, romance and danger, sky ships and sky squids, daring escape from Imperial prisons. It's real good. It's a real good game. I'm really excited.
Me too.
So why don't you take a moment to introduce your character this week, and then I will kind of explain what I will be doing in the game.
Great. So I am playing the game's namesake, Natasha Siri, who is in fact Lady Blackbird. She is described as an Imperial noble in disguise, escaping an arranged marriage so she can be with her lover. So her family has arranged a marriage for her to somebody that she despises, and she is going to try to get to the secret hideout of the pirate king Uriah Flint, but she hasn't seen him in 6 years. So it's possible that maybe, no pun intended, that ship has sailed, or she wasn't intended to be with him in the first place. So she is, she's of noble birth. She's in disguise as a peasant, a commoner, but she's also a master sorcerer. She has spell casting, and particularly the Stormblood ability, which I guess we're going to just kind of find out what that means as we go along.
The story begins with you on board the smuggler sky ship the Owl, piloted by the legendary Cyrus Vance. However, just before reaching the halfway point of Haven, you were pursued and captured by the Imperial cruiser the Hand of Sorrow under charges of flying a false flag. Even now, you are held in the brig while the commander of the cruiser runs the smuggler ship's registry over the wireless. It is only a matter of time before they discover your outstanding warrants, learn who you are, and have you sent back for your arranged marriage. So we have to figure out, how will you escape, what dangers lie in your way, and will you be able to find the secret lair, and what happens if you do. Now, this game is very lightweight to GM, so I'm going to be simultaneously GMing the game and sort of playing one of the supporting characters, the legendary pirate and soldier of fortune, Cyrus Vance, captain of the Owl.
Indeed.
I'm going to be playing this character, and I'm going to be kind of guiding the story and playing the supporting character so that you, as Lady Blackbird, have somebody to kind of bounce off of, and we can kind of play with some relationship stuff. It'll be really fun. I'm super excited.
Me too.
So, with all that out of the way, I think we're ready to dive into the game.
Super.
So, what is the brig? What does your cell in the brig look like? I imagine the whole crew is sort of in this one large area of the brig. What does sort of the set here look like? What are you kept around? Is it a proper brig? Is it sort of repurposed from another room on the ship? Tell me your surroundings at this moment.
Well, since this is an official type of vessel, I don't think that it's been repurposed. I think that it has space to keep prisoners, but also since it's an airship, I don't think that it's going to be completely enclosed. I think it has like bars. It's more like a cage than it's a dungeon, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, like the classic with the bars, and then there's like barrels and stuff sitting around outside, just like almost exactly like you'd think a pirate ship's brig would look like. And
so I think you're all kept in individual cells that are separated by bars, so you're able to speak. And I think there are, I'm going to say, like, about 3 to 4 very young and inexperienced pirates, like Imperial guards, kind of patrolling. They'll kind of walk by. They all look very apathetic. They're not being paid enough to to watch over an entire unruly pirate crew. And so you're in here. Everyone is separated in cages. I think Cyrus is sitting very quiet and clearly, like, formulating things in his head. What is Lady Blackbird doing?
I think that Lady Blackbird is sizing up the situation and trying to think of the best way to use her own personality to try to get out of this. So I think that she's going to, and she's in disguise, so nobody really knows who she is, right?
Yes, that's correct.
But I'm going to imagine that she's pretty, and that she probably hasn't quite nailed the commoner look, so she might look a little bit too swank just by a hair. Like she probably wore the worst clothes in her wardrobe, which are still better than anybody else's.
Sure, yeah.
So she's gonna try to catch the eye of a guard. She's gonna look real sad and kind of look up through her lashes every now and again to try to catch somebody's eye.
Okay, we're going to make this a roll. The difficulty here is going to be 3.
Okay.
So let's walk through how rolling dice work in Lady Blackbird.
Okay.
You're going to start out, you're going to roll a pool of 6-sided dice. You're going to start with 1 dice. If you have a trait that can help you, you can add a 2nd dice. Does one of your traits apply here?
Charm.
Charm absolutely applies here. If that trait has any tags that apply, you can add another dice for each tag.
There's a few in there. I'm going to go with charisma.
Charisma, absolutely, yeah. I think presence also works here.
Okay.
Because you're standing out from the ruffians kind of around you.
Okay, great.
So you're going to add 2 more dice for that, for those, and then finally, you have a pool of 7 dice that you can draw from during the game. If you want to add any dice from those 7, you can pull from them now.
Okay, I will pull 1 more die in for a total of 5 dice.
Okay, so you're going to roll all of those dice, and any that show a total of 4 or higher is a hit.
Okay, great. All right, so I have 3 6s and a 4.
Perfect,
and a 1.
4 hits. So you have succeeded. So tell me what this looks like.
Okay, so probably he's the youngest one. I'd say maybe the most gullible, maybe a new recruit.
Yep. All the clothes are real big on him. Like he's swimming in the like the smallest available size of Imperial marine wear. Like, he is just swimming in it.
Right. So Natasha is going to be, she's kind of leaning against the bars a little bit, but she's also, I'm hoping that her cage, I guess, adjoins Cyrus's.
Mm-hmm.
So she's kind of leaning in that corner and just really looking sad and pitiful, and kind of makes eye contact with this one guard for maybe just a little bit longer than should have. So he comes over maybe and say, asks her if there's anything that she needs.
Yeah, I think he's like leaning on the bars and trying to look cool, but it's just not quite working. But like, he's real red in the face as he's like, so what brings prison you like to a pirate place like this? That didn't go great.
That's okay. So she's going to kind of sigh and look over at Cyrus in kind of a meaningful kind of way, you know, just to make sure that he's aware of what she's trying to, of being set up to be able to do something.
Yeah.
And she says, I've made such poor life choices. I should have stayed home. I should have stayed with my family and just lived a common life. But I was tempted away by the thought of being a space pirate.
So, I think as you're giving that speech, Cyrus kind of comes up. I'll say it after. So as you're kind of talking, Cyrus comes up real, like, surreptitiously, throws his hand through the open bars, grabs the kid by just a handful of, like a real heaping handful of clothes, because again, this kid is just swimming, and just pulls his head into the bars as hard as he can.
Oh no! Yay,
so
mayhem!
I am going to make a roll. An important gameplay detail is you are going to, because you rolled, it was a success, all of your dice are discarded, which means that one dice from your pool of 7 is gone until you have a refreshment scene later on.
Okay.
And we'll go into that when that happens.
All right.
So right now your pool is reduced to 6 dice.
Gotcha.
I am going to, so I start with 1 dice. I'm going to add 1 for warrior. I think warrior fits here, and I think battle hardened probably fits here pretty. Actually, I think survivor and tough probably fit better here. So I'm going to go with 3 dice, and because this difficulty is 4, I'm going to add, from my pool of 7, I'm going to add 3 dice.
Okay.
So I'm rolling a total of 6 dice. Oh no, I only got 3 successes.
Oh no! Since Natasha is in a position to help,
yes,
we could do that.
We could indeed.
Yeah.
You can give me 1 dice from your pool. And tell me what you do to help. I will roll that dice, and if it fails, you get the dice back. If it succeeds, that die goes away.
So Lady Blackbird is going to, well, first off, I think that she was trying to make sure that the kid's attention was all on her to start with, but also, oh gosh, I'm trying to think what would be good here.
So I think let me set this up for you. I think what this looks like. I think it is like you're giving him a sob story. I'm coming up, and as I'm reaching through the bar, he turns and sees that and starts to get startled and get defensive and scream. So what do you do to like stop him from doing that at that moment, at that crucial moment?
I kiss him.
Perfect. Perfect. Oh, that's especially perfect. Yeah, you kiss him. You pull him in for a kiss. And in that brief second, I'm able to like grab him by the scruff, slam him into the bars, And I stop and I'm looking because I rolled a 5, which brings us up to 4 successes.
Yay!
Which means that he is taken out. He's knocked unconscious. I grab the keys from around his waist. I unlock the gates, and I kind of stop there for a second. And I look at you, and I'm like, "Well, that was forward."
Whatever it takes to get to my one true love.
I suppose that's fair. And I am going to actually activate one of my character's keys.
Mm-hmm.
Because Cyrus Vance has the key of hidden longing.
Uh-huh.
He is completely enthralled by Lady Blackbird, but he does not want you to know it. Mm-hmm. So I hit my key when I make a decision based on the secret affection, or when I somehow show it indirect.
That's cute.
There's a reason that I thought this was the right character.
That's very cute. Should I hit the key of the imposter because I passed myself off as a commoner and performed well enough to fool someone?
Yes, indeed.
Okay.
So we both hit a key, which means we can take 1 experience, or we can add a dice to our pool. So you can get one of your dice back, or you can take an experience point, which when you accumulate 5 experience, you can trade them in for an advance, which gets you new abilities, new secrets, traits, tags, and cool new things that your character can do. So you can hold experience to unlock cool new abilities later, or add a dice to your pool now and recover. I am going to, with my activation of the key, I'm going to pull a dice back into my pool because I spent a lot of dice on that roll.
Yeah, so am I, because I'm down to 5. So now I'm at 6.
All right, I am back up to 4 dice.
Cool.
So yeah, I'm kind of stammering there, well, that was okay. I didn't think you had that in you. Maybe a pirate you will be yet. That was embarrassing. Okay, I'm just gonna unlock the door now. It's fine.
So Lady Blackbird is going to just kind of arch an eyebrow and ignore the cute stammering, and sashay through the now opened door.
And I think as we all kind of move out through the brig, I think we get to, there's a large doorway that kind of opens it back into sort of the main hallway, like the main series of hallways of the Hands of Sorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And as we kind of move towards that big doorway, we see the handle, we hear the door kind of chunk on the other side, and we see it start to open, knowing that at least 1 or 2 of these Marines is going to be coming through that door any moment.
Okay.
What does Lady Blackbird do?
She's going to use her Master Sorcerer ability, Wind, and she's going to try to create enough pressure on the door to where it does not open.
Oh, that's very, very good. Okay, give me a roll for that. So you're going to start with 1 dice. Absolutely add your Master Sorcerer trait.
And Wind.
Add that Wind tag. And then is there anything else in Master Sorcerer that you think could help with this?
Well, I mean, Spellcaster.
Spellcaster, absolutely.
Right. What's the difficulty level going to be on this?
The difficulty level for this, I'm going to say it is, because the door is already opening, and because it is kind of an impromptu thing, I'm going to set it at a 4.
Okay, great. I'm going to use a die from the dice pool to put me up to 5 total dice, and I'm a roll. So I have 2 4s, and that's it.
All right. Yeah, I can't even really necessarily help with that because I can only really give you 1 dice. So I'm going to say what has happened to you. I'm going to put a condition on you.
Okay.
I'm going to put a condition on both of us that is trapped. I think we both warrant a trapped, because the door kind of opens and we look back and there's no other. This is the only way out of this brig. And now there are 2 Marines and we're kind of backed into a corner.
Okay. Well, we're trapped. Were there any weapons on the younger guard?
There's probably a little knife, or I'm gonna say there's a nightstick and a little dagger. There's a nightstick and a dagger.
Okay. Is there anybody else with us, or should we even count on them?
There's certainly the rest of the crew. There's Naomi Bishop, your former pit fighter and bodyguard. There's Snargle, the goblin, the pilot of the Owl. There's the whole crew is there, and we're all just kind of taking a step back. So if you want to If you want to or order one of them to take action, you can certainly do that.
Sure. So I will. Oh, what was the name of the pit fighter again? I've completely forgotten.
Naomi Bishop.
Naomi. I'm going to say to Naomi. Oh gosh, how do I say this without sounding like a jerk? Or maybe I should.
I kind of think you should probably sound like a jerk, especially because you have the key of the noble.
Oh, right, probably that. Or the paragon, or whatever it is. Oh, yeah, there it is. Naomi, it is time to defend your mistress.
And Naomi, sighs and is like, again with the, I told you, don't call me mistress. It's weird. And she cracks her knuckles and she's like, all right, let's go and do this. And she kind of cracks her knuckles and does that thing before she kind of reloads her fists before boxing. Mm-hmm. And just rushes into action. And I'm going to roll for Naomi. I'm going to keep the same pool of 4 dice, though. I think that's a good way to do this if I'm swapping between characters.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I'm going to roll 1 dice plus 1 for... I'm going to call this Pit Fighter. And I'm going to roll 1 for Combat Tested and 1 for Living Weapon. So I'm going to roll 3 dice plus... I'm going to throw in all 4 dice. Let's go with this, because I think I only have to get 4, so I'm going to throw in 2 dice and roll 5.
Okay.
And if you want to add 1 dice to that, you can.
Sure. Well, I feel like we're probably all helping, in some way or another. So, I guess Natasha will pick up the nightstick. And toss it to
perfect.
Yeah, toss it to her. So that's my helping.
I'm going to be rolling 6 dice total as I bum rush these Imperial Marines. Oh, that is beautiful. That is 4 hits exactly.
Oh, cool.
So those dice go away. And I think What is Lady Blackbird doing? I think what is she doing as Naomi is fighting as just beating these 2 guards in the background? I think there's a moment of calm I think, where it's the camera is focused hard on you and whomever you're talking to or interacting with. Mm-hmm. As we just see in the background, going back and forth is just Naomi punching people.
So I think that Lady Blackbird is really into it. She's enjoying the whole the mayhem because her life has probably been pretty calm up to this point. So she's like, yeah, get him, that kind of thing, little motions and not quite hiding it very well.
Okay, so I think what we see is the close-up shots when there's something horrible happening that a character's just reacting to. Uh-huh. I think it's just that, and we're hearing sound effects of and it's just your face lighting up.
Right.
And we cut back, and Naomi is just leaning against bars, and her knuckles are just bloodied, and she's just, I haven't gotten to do that in a little while. That was pretty good. And I'm going to actually tag her key of the warrior as she has beaten down 2 armed Imperial Marines. And I'm going to give myself 1 of these dice back.
Awesome.
She did pretty well.
Should I have hit the key of the Paragon since I was a snooty patootie when I ordered her into action? Okay, so
yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna keep that XP.
Okay.
Maybe against a rainy day.
So, what happens next? We've got 3 guards on the ground. We've got a few weapons scattered about. We have costumes we can change into. We have a few different ways to escape this brig. But I think Cyrus steps up and begins to give orders. How does Lady Blackbird react to that?
Who is he giving the orders to?
I think the whole crew, including you and Naomi. He's just okay, we've got 3 costumes. Snargle's not going to fit you, so you're going to have to stay in the back. Let's see. Naomi, you're going to have to take the front because...
Who is paying your way here? I think you've forgotten yourself.
Well, I dare say the person that's paying my way here is the reason that I'm in an Imperial brig.
Yes, and you will not receive your pay unless you get me to where I'm going. And I think that I know the best way to do that, don't you?
You know, I don't think you got a lot of. You know what? If you know the best way, please. You and your bodyguard are free to take it. And hey, how about we meet at the Owl and we'll see who gets there first. And he kind of like snaps his fingers and walks off with Snargle and Kale and the rest of the crew of the Owl, leaving you and Naomi by yourselves. And I'm going to take 2 experience as I have got as my key of the commander has gotten us in trouble and split our group up.
Oh no. That's probably key of the Paragon time for me again. So
yes, indeed.
Yeah.
I'll give you 2 experience. 2 experience. You can take 2 experience, get 2 dice back to a maximum of 10 dice, or you can take 1 experience and 1 dice.
I will take 1 experience and 1 dice.
Okay. So you have 2 experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get to 5, you get to unlock a cool thing.
Cool.
Okay, so you and Naomi are off on your own. I think we're just gonna leave the crew of the Owl and see when the timing is right. See how they re-enter the scene.
Okay, so Naomi and I are going to loot the bodies, and we're going to put on some guard uniforms.
I think there's only one. Let me ask you. There's only one available because there's
only one.
No, there's 3 outfits available. There's 3 outfits, but I think 2 of them were taken by Cyrus and Kale Arkham, the burglar and petty sorcerer first made a mechanic of the Owl. Mm-hmm. Snargle is not quite large enough to fit into it, even the kid's outfit. So there's only one outfit available for you and Naomi. Who gets it?
Naomi gets it.
Okay.
And I'm going to have her tie my hands together and act like she's escorting the prisoner.
That's real good. Take your key of the. I'm gonna activate your key of the commoner.
Oh, okay.
Because you've stuck to your disguise as a common person as opposed to switching out for a different outfit.
Awesome.
So do you want an experience or a dice?
I'm gonna hold on to that experience.
All right. So the 2 of you, she's kind of like carrying you through, and I'm actually going to have you roll for this.
Okay.
A general roll, difficulty of 3, to see if you can fool the Imperial, fool the guards.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But between you're going to be basically, because she is not really a stealthy person. Mm-hmm. You kind of, and I think part of the challenge of it, part of what happens if you don't succeed this roll, is you see her a few times pass an Imperial Marine, and her shoulders kind of tighten up a little bit, and you're you have to basically be don't. Mm-hmm. So walk me through what this looks like as you put together a roll to fool these Imperial Marines.
Okay, so what I'm going to use is cunning, the trait cunning, and then the tags deception and disguise, to give myself a total of 4 dice. And I'm going to pull another one from my pool to make it 5 dice.
Okay.
So what's happening is that Lady Blackbird is being led along by Naomi and keeping her head down, and trying to look real dejected and sad and just kind of stumbling along, but also every once in a while hissing orders to Naomi, no, turn here. No, you need to salute.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, give me that roll. I'm not going to help you, though, because I don't think Naomi is being helpful in this situation.
That's fine. So I have 2 5s and a 6.
Perfect. 3 hits is a success here.
Cool.
I think there is... Walk me through a close call that happens that you're able to, that you're able to basically disguise your way out of.
Okay. So there is another Marine coming in the opposite direction along the hall, and he stops for a minute, and looks at Naomi a little bit harshly, and it looks like he's trying to see the name tag, I guess, on the uniform, or to figure out if he's seen her before or something like that. And so what Natasha does is stumble on purpose and like fall to her knees, and that gives Naomi the opportunity to like, come on, prisoner, pick her up and push her all back along the hallway, and kind of makes that whole interaction diffuse a little bit.
I love it. That's fantastic. And I think the detail that I want to add the detail to that of when she says it, it's come on, prisoner. And like just real stiffly kind of like grabs you, and it's just like clearly not really a trained actor.
Right.
But yeah,
bless her.
You kind of like glide past the guards, you're moving, and I think at about that moment is when you see the explosion on like a deck, like you see it on one of the like, I'm picturing, so what I think happens next is you navigate through, you dodge a bunch of guards, we get kind of a quick montage of you sneaking.
Mm-hmm.
You come to kind of an open courtyard where you can see a few floors of the Hand of Sorrow. Like you can see a few of these decks all kind of looking out onto this courtyard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you see the explosion happen. And Cyrus, Snargle, and Kale fly from maybe the 3rd story to the floor.
Oh no!
And just like rolling through and just start running and screaming, go, run!
Are they running at us, or where?
I think they're just kind of they're in your direction, but not intentionally.
So all pretense drops at this point, and Natasha looks up and just like fixes Cyrus with this cold glare and says, "What did you do, Sky Pirate?"
And he kind of like stumbles and stops, and I think Kale and Snargle keep running. And Cyrus kind of stops and like adjusts his jacket a little bit and is like, you had your way and we have ours. We're still working through it. We will meet you at the Owl.
Seems like you need a minder. Why don't you come with us?
And he looks and he's like, I gotta accompany my. Okay, I suppose they're long gone. So I might as well. And I'm going to take that experience because I probably shouldn't leave my crew behind.
Oh, no.
I think I'm going to make a roll for this one. I think I'm going to make a roll as now we're all just scrambling to get to the Owl.
Okay.
I think we've had to drop all semblance of disguises. Mm-hmm. We just kind of have to book it now, and that's kind of what we're rolling for.
Okay.
So why don't we both make a roll, actually? We'll make the difficulty 3. Mm-hmm. And I will roll, and that way we both roll to see, make sure that we both get there and there's no complications that the other person has to step in for.
Okay. I have the athletic trait and the run tag. So that
Perfect.
Adds 2 dice to my pool, and I'm going to pick one out of the big dice pool. That takes me down to just 4. All right, here I go. Oh, a 5 and a 3.
Okay.
The rest are ones.
All right, I am going to give you the condition of angry, and say that Cyrus has done something because like you'd have gotten there had it not been for Cyrus. So I think you're angry. I think angry is the condition you have right now. You don't have trapped anymore, but you have angry.
Okay, cool.
And I am gonna roll. I have survivor, tough, and run. So I think I am barreling through hallways. And there's a few times when a Marine comes up and I just kind of running sock him in the jaw. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to add 3 dice. I have 1, and I'm going to take 1 from my pool for a total of 5 dice. And I got 1 hit. I got 1 4. So that's not a great roll.
No, we're not doing great.
Not doing great. And I think, which condition do you think Cyrus gets?
I think lost is probably
Lost?
a good one. Like, we've gotten turned around in this ship. We don't know our way around.
Yep, I think that, like, oh, that's what makes you angry, I bet, is, like, Cyrus kind of stops running and is like, if we took a right, if we're on, what floor are we on? I feel like we fell a lot.
You fell 3 floors. Do you even have any idea where we are?
Are you sure it wasn't? How many floors are on this ship?
I don't know. I've never been on this ship before.
This is an Imperial. Look, whether or not we're lost is immaterial. Okay, it's immaterial.
How is that immaterial?
Because we wouldn't have gotten lost had our whole crew stuck together, because we could have had 6 minds thinking on this instead of 3.
And whose decision was that?
I seem to remember that it was yours, on account of you seem to have much better plans than I did, so you stoked my ego and made me make a wrong decision, so really it's your fault.
Oh, so it's my fault. Your incompetency and ego is my fault.
Yes, that sounds right.
No, it doesn't sound right.
No.
Naomi, let's go.
Yeah, all right. I guess I'll buy that. I will have fun. I'll see you at the Owl. And he kind of like backs up a little bit, backs into a wall, stumbles forward, and is like, "Oh, okay. Going this way now."
Like, Lady Blackbird is walking down the hallway, her hips swaying, just doing the absolute sassiest walk that she possibly can do.
All right, so give me a roll to find your. Give me one last roll to find your way back to the Owl.
Okay. Let's see. What do we have that will help? So Naomi probably can't like actually interface with any actual guards. Okay, so Natasha's an Imperial noble in under traits, and she has the tags educated and history. So is it possible that once she stops and thinks about it a little bit, she does kind of know a general layout of an Imperial ship?
Oh, for sure. I would absolutely, especially the Hand of Sorrow, which is like, it's like, a living piece of history. Like, you've probably read storybooks that involved this. And those storybooks probably had, like, Lord of the Rings style, like, fold-out maps. That, like, if you stop and think about it, you can piece together where you are. So I would absolutely let you have those.
Okay, great. Let me see here. So, she's going to use the Imperial noble trait, and then the tags educated and history. And I'm going to add one more from the dice pool to give me a total of 5 dice.
And I'm gonna give you one more dice from my pool, because I think here Naomi is able to help, because like she's still, you have time to think, because she's now doing what she does best and just striking an intimidating pose.
Okay, great. So I have 2 4s and a 6.
Perfect. We like sideswipe over, and we see the Owl in all of its sky ship beauty. And we the two of you get there. I think Snargle and Kale are like leaning on it, like, well, that took you long enough. Hey, where's Boss? He was with you. There were 3, and now there's 2.
Your boss decided to follow his ego.
Oh my god! Oh no! He's bad at that. He's bad at that.
Or he's good at that, and that's the problem.
It's just he's bad at it. Oh, this is okay. So we have to he's dead, right? We should all just agree that he is dead. No, I don't believe we should believe that he's dead. Lady Blackbird, what do you think?
I think that we should give him as much time as we can, but if it's a question of the rest of us getting off of this accursed ship and maybe having to leave him behind, we should get the rest of us off the ship. Let's give him 5 minutes.
5 minutes. We can work with 5 minutes. 5 minutes is not that long. 5 minutes for a dear friend is not enough time, but a time that we can spare.
I guess.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you the big picture, and I want you to fill in some details.
Okay.
Of the next thing that we see, and I'm going to ask you for the big picture of what happened leading up to this, as we kind of get like a quick flashback.
Mm-hmm.
What we see is is from one side of the room, or from one side of the hangar where the owl is being kept. Cyrus is running at the owl, Han Solo on the Death Star style.
Yes.
A swarm of Imperial Marines chasing behind him. Captain Hollis is like leading this charge of Imperial Marines. What happened?
I think that Uriah was so just in a daze of anger and frustration and kind of a little bit of attraction, that he just started huffing around like, I'm going to definitely prove her wrong. I'm going to get there first. And so he wasn't paying attention to where he was going and not maybe listening at doors the way he should. And he totally stumbled into the mess hall.
All right, I'm giving myself I'm gonna give Cyrus 2 XP for that, and also, I'm gonna give Cyrus 2 XP, and that's gonna give me 5, and I'm gonna do a cool thing.
What cool thing are you gonna do?
I am going to. Well, I think what I'm gonna do. Oh, I'm gonna buy off one of my keys. I think this is exactly what happens. I think this is a big moment.
Okay.
I think I am running, and I just look at you, and I'm like, get the crew, get them into the thing, I will distract them. You do what you do best and get things moving. And I keep running, and I acknowledge someone else as the leader and buy off my key of the commander.
Well done.
And so what do you do? So I think what I'm going to ask is, I'm going to ask you for a roll.
Okay.
To get the crew to listen to you and to organize everyone and get the owl off the ground.
Okay.
And I will throw in 1 dice for Cyrus basically telling you to do this and giving you command.
Okay, great. So I'm going to use the charm trait and add in presence and command tags. And then 1 more die from my pool. And so you're adding 1 more. So that gives me a total of 5 dice.
Cool. And I'm going to say the difficulty here is, because of the stress of the situation, I'm going to say 4.
Okay. All right. So I have a 6 and a 5.
Okay. The situation escalates. I think you're able to. I think everybody gets onto the ship, but the ship is starting to take off, and you have to make the decision. And it's now that the ship is in the air, but Cyrus is in no position to make a dramatic leap, and you have to make the decision of whether to run after him and try to jump onto the ship together, or just leave him behind.
Ooh. Well, Natasha is going to make the decision to run after him and try to jump onto the ship together, because she's kind of snooty, but she's not a terrible human being. So the ship is already in the air, and Cyrus and Natasha are still on the dock, or okay. So, and then there's this great herd of people running at us.
Yeah.
Okay, so Natasha is going to turn and use sorcery to try to stop them in their tracks. She's going to create X-Men Storm style. She's going to create a mini thunderstorm right there, between her and Cyrus and the charging people. So Master Sorcerer, spellcaster tag, and Stormblood and Lightning gives 5 dice total. So what do you want to set this at?
Let's set this at, I'm going to give you 1 dice. I'm going to give you a dice to help out. So you're going to have 6 dice. And I'm going to set this at, I think there's a lot of them. So I think to do something that's powerful is probably a 4.
Okay. So I'm going to do, I'm running really low on pool dice. I'm going to add another die from my pool. Oh, that sucks. I have a 6 and a 4.
I should specify your dice. Have you been taking them away on successes and failures, or just successes?
I
think you've only lost like 3 dice so far.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So cool. Then I'm at 4 instead of 2. That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for catching me on that, Jeff. But that still sucks. I only have 2.
Okay. I think what is happening... Go ahead.
But since let me ask you this. So I've passed myself off as a commoner to this commander and all of the crew. Mm-hmm. And turning around and channeling with Stormblood, which is only House Blackbird's thing. Mm-hmm. Does that reveal my true identity to someone that I fooled and let me buy off the key of the imposter?
Yes, it does.
Cool. So what do I get when that happens? So
I was just reading the rules on that. We both have a number of advances to pick for that. Because when you buy off a key, you get 2 immediate advances. So I actually have 3 advances to pick real quick. And then you have 2 to pick off, because I got 1 for 5 experience. I then bought off handing off command. So we both have a bunch of cool things that we get to do right now that will help get us onto the owl and do cool things. Mm-hmm. I am going to buy the key of the traveler, and say that, like, because I've been to a million things, I'm going to buy the key of the traveler and the key of the broker. I love exploring and meeting new people, and I like to make deals and trade favors. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of things.
Cool.
And I think I'm also going to... I have a cool ability that I can do. Mm-hmm. I'm also going to add the brawl key to my warrior trait, because I've been punching a lot of people, and I should have that. Mm-hmm.
Probably.
So what 2 things do you want to unlock? Because you can add a new trait based on something you learned during play or some past experience. You can add a tag to an existing trait. You can add a new key, or you can learn a secret.
I am going to definitely add the fly tag under Master Sorcerer, because I feel like that's probably going to help us get out of here. Yep. And let's see. Sorry, you're probably going to have to cut this bit out.
That's fine. I was gonna say, while you pick out the second thing, I do want to set up our refreshment scene with using my secret, which is I think the owl takes off. I think we see it take off, and we see the captain and the Imperial Marines rushing at us. And Cyrus sighs and rolls his eyes back, and he locks you in the eyes, and he just puts a finger to his mouth in like a shush. Mm-hmm. He's like, "Don't tell anyone what's about to happen." And he grabs your hand, and the 2 of you blink out of existence.
What?
And teleport onto the owl using his secret warp blood.
Ooh. Well, that's cool. That's really cool.
I think he specifically teleports you onto the ramp, and like he immediately like falls over and starts being like, "We did it! We made the jump! We made the very dramatic jump. It was very dramatic."
How did you do that?
The dramatic jump? do you mean the dramatic jump? And he starts being like, don't, shh, we'll talk later.
Oh, okay. That was a great jump.
Great jump. Good job.
Good work.
And he stands there for a second and like starts to go for a hug, and then is like, he throws out like a forearm to like give you like a mash, like a forearm mash. Like, yeah, great job, team.
So Natasha doesn't quite know what to do with the arm. So she kind of like, her automatic assumption is that he's, when somebody puts their hand out, that they're wanting to like take her hand and kiss it because she's a noble, and so she kind of gets the grasp wrong. So they're just kind of pawing at each other in this weird, awkward way.
Great, good. I'm gonna go. And I think this is where we have our refreshment scene, and we set ourselves to 7 dice before our dramatic, climactic sky battle.
Awesome.
Because we're going to have a climactic sky battle.
Of course, we have to have a climactic sky battle. That's the law.
We refresh our pool back to 7 dice by having a refreshment scene. Mm-hmm. A refreshment scene is a good time to ask questions that show off aspects. We get to, I think we kind of sit back and we breathe. It's a quiet moment between two characters. I think I pour us some drinks and I just sit and we get to ask each other some questions.
Okay. So where are we?
I think we are in the captain's chambers, and he's kind of like showing you, I don't think you've seen it, and I think it's like nicer and larger than any other room on the Owl. No, it is distinctly like it is a closet that has been converted into captain's quarters. Mm-hmm. And he's like, this is where I do the captain stuff.
Is he like nervously putting things away because it's kind of messy from him not thinking anybody was going to be in there?
Yes, that's very good.
Like maybe not quite underwear, but definitely like last night's clothes.
And like just like putting away books as though they looked, even though they did not look out of place. He's just like picking stuff, doing that thing where like you're like, oh, I should pick up my place, and you just start like picking things up and putting them in other spots.
It's very cute. Very cute. Is there like one chair and he's moving things off of the one chair and trying to get her to sit in it?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
Okay. So she does sit down, and she's like on the very edge of the chair. Her back isn't touching the backrest because she's doing that proper sitting thing. What kind of drink does he offer?
I think it's neon blue. It's sort of blue milk-ish. Mm-hmm. And, like, he doesn't it comes from a flask, and he does not say what it is. Like, it smells sweet, but also kind of curdled, but, like, he just assumes you know what it is, and it's just like, here you go. And you see him just throw a glass back.
Okay. Natasha's going to smell it. And kind of wrinkle her nose a little bit.
And he stops and he goes, "Oh, right, yes, that is sky squid ink. I know, it sounds weird, but like it is actually so refreshing, and like it puts hair on your chest. Not that you need hair on your chest. It's fine. And he kind of starts to take it from you, like it's not really.
No. If I'm going to be a sky pirate, then I need to drink the drinks of the sky pirates. And she's going to take a deep breath and toss it back and practically choke to death.
Mm-hmm. I think I am going to. Would you like to take the trait Sky? Did you already take the trait Sky Pirate?
Was that one of your advances? Sure, I can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the trait Sky Pirate.
Key of the pirate, or the trait. Ooh, aha! There it is. Okay, cool.
And you don't start with any tags for that, but you are a Sky Pirate now. You are part of the crew.
Yay!
You've taken the traditional drink of squid ink.
Uh-huh.
It's actually not bad. Kind of melony.
Uh-huh.
it smells worse than it smells worse than it tastes. It's got kind of a salt, like a little bit of salt to it, and it's kind of like a salty melon flavor.
Mm-hmm.
Surprising, better than you would have thought.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Awesome. So is it alcoholic?
It is. You get the vibe that, like, I'd say it's probably about as alcoholic as, like, a wine spritzer. Like, you get the sense that if you were to, like, chug, like, a bottle of this, it might, like, get you woozy.
Ah.
But,
Okay.
like, not really.
So Natasha was totally thinking that it was like grog, you know, that it was going to be this very harsh drink, and so she was all prepared to, you know, feel it burning on the way down and choke and all the things, but she just sits there for a minute like she's expecting it to do something else, and then it doesn't.
And I think at that moment, Cyrus grabs a flask with a skull and crossbones and 3 X's, takes a swig of that and goes, oh, that's good stuff.
Is it? Could I try some?
If your funeral, I guess.
Well, hopefully it won't be.
Well, look, we'll get you where you're going. We stick by our crew.
To be honest, I'm maybe I'm telling you more than I should. I'm nervous. I don't know what's going to be waiting for me when I get there, because it's been 6 years. 6 years. How do I know that he's even better than what I'm running from?
I mean, I guess you don't. But I think, if anything, that's why we explore, right? There's always that possibility that things are going to be worse on the other side, but I mean, that's the pirate way, I guess, is we see what's on the other side.
Well, that's a surprising amount of insight.
I've been doing this for a long time.
There's a number of things about you that have surprised me. What did you do out there? What was that? I've never seen anyone do that.
That was, like I said, I've been doing this a very long time. Once upon, again, don't tell anybody this, but when I left the Empire, I was what you might call a nobleman-ish?
Really? What house?
In waiting, I was it's a
Gryffindor.
I was a night owl. The house night owl. We weren't very big. It was they weren't very. It was a military, like, nobility thing, really. Like, it wasn't. I don't think we would have ever ran into each other had I stuck there, but it wasn't for me. I needed to see what was on the other side. I didn't know if it was better. Luckily, so far it has been, but I needed to get out, so I got out. Never looked back.
Sounds like you and I have quite a bit in common.
Yeah. I've noticed that we kind of have an eye for seeking out our own, whether that means nobles or... And he kind of looks out to the crew and just says, people looking for the other side.
Right. It's not as though I'm necessarily in a huge hurry to get to Uriah Flint. It might be nice to see a little bit more of everything maybe before I go get married.
And that's when the owl, like, shakes, and there's the sound of a burst, and it's, oh, they found us. Oh, they found us.
Oh, no, and, like, things are falling off of shelves.
And he's, like desperately like, no, I just put that there. Oh, okay. Battle stations? Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
What are the battle stations? I don't even know. I'm just going to follow you.
Great. And we enter into our sky battle.
Yes! Sky battle.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me pull up my GM guides. There's a skyship battle category.
Oh, wow.
We are in battle. I think we're going to we're going to both be controlling the, I think what happens is Cyrus kind of stops and looks at you and says, you think you can handle things on here? Because I can. And he kind of looks around and he's like, I can jump and maybe knock at least one of these guys off our radar if you can keep things going on deck.
I think I can handle that, yes.
Okay.
Will you do something for me?
Of course.
Be careful.
No can do. And he turns around and like hits the ramp. Like he hits the ramp and it starts to lower and he snaps his fingers and disappears. And he's like, I'm jumping! And he disappears and Snargle turns around and he goes, Did he do the teleport thing again?
Oh, so it's not a big secret.
You kind of learn if your captain can teleport pretty quickly. It's sort of he's never explained like why or how, but like, yeah, I mean, we kind of just said, oh, you can teleport it. Mm-hmm. We kind of let him have the whole secret though. Like now that you're on the crew, we kind of entertain it. It's a whole thing.
That's really, really ridiculously endearing.
Yeah, that's what you do for friends.
Great. Well, now it's time for mayhem.
All right. I'm going to make a roll first. I'm going to make a roll for Cyrus as he tries to knock out one of these. I think there's about half a dozen tiny little sky vessels, a little smaller than the Owl, which is not a particularly large ship. So I'm thinking like Millennium Falcon versus TIE Fighter is, I guess, the best way to kind of describe the size comparisons.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really feeling the Star Wars influence in this game.
Right. It's there. It's definitely there.
Okay. So I'm going to make a roll for Cyrus as he teleports onto one of these ships and tries to knock out the pilot and take control of the ship himself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to start with 1 dice. I'm going to add Warrior. I'm going to add Battle Hardened. I'm going to add Brawl.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to take, because we had a refreshment scene, so we are back up to 7 dice each.
Yep.
I'm going to add 2 dice off of that. And I'm going to say this is, would you say 3?
Sure. That
3
seems
feels
fair.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. That is 2. I am going to take the, what do you think? Injured, dead, trapped? Dead just means presumed dead.
Right.
What do you think? What do you think?
I think injured.
Injured. I think so too. I think he appears in, punches out one pilot, doesn't realize there's a second pilot, and like catches a punch himself, and we just cut back and forth to him just getting beaten up.
Right.
All right. So what are your orders? What are your orders to the crew?
My orders to the crew are who normally mans the gun turret?
Who normally mans the gun turret? That's probably Kale. I think would probably be the person. No, I think it's Snargle, as he is the pilot, and the gunnery is like adjacent to that.
Snargle, man the gun turret. We need to take whoever flies this thing. We need to take evasive maneuvers. And Snargle, do your best not to shoot the ships that the captain is in.
Permission to speak.
Yes.
That's both me. Could you do one? If I like kind of guide you through it.
I can probably man the gun turret.
All right,
because
cool,
that's probably easier.
Multitasking's not really Snargle's strength. It's sort of I'm very task focused.
Understood. Now
I appreciate it.
Now get to it.
Aye. All right, give me a roll as you're going to try and shoot some of these ships out of the sky.
Okay, great. So let's see. I do have shooting, but it's under athletic, and I does that count for this? I mean, it's shooting, but it's not like a gun. It's not a handgun.
I don't think I would count athletic for that.
Okay. So
I think this might just be your base dice. I might give you noble educated or noble history, maybe. If you could come up with a good justification for it, but I think otherwise it might just be dice out of your pool. With +1 because Snargle is next to you, kind of walking you through the process.
Okay, great. Can I add Sky Pirate to it?
Oh, you absolutely can add Sky Pirate to it.
Okay, so that takes it up to 2, and then I'm going to add 2 more dice from my pool.
All right, you got to get 3 hits.
3 hits. Here we go. Oh, I only have 1 hit.
Okay.
Nuts.
I think the escalation is like you don't follow your own instruction and like you hit the exact ship that Cyrus happens to be on.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I'm going to have poor injured Cyrus have to make an actual jump because he's tired and can't teleport that frequently. Have to make an actual dramatic jump off of the ship.
Well, can I help?
Yeah, sure.
By adding a dice from my pool. Okay, so Lady Blackbird sees this happen and then uses her sorcery, wind, to try to like boost him up,
or
aid in his jump. Okay.
So good, absolutely, I absolutely love that. And I'm going to take 1 plus Survivor. I'm also going to take Endure as I am like falling through the air, and probably Tough to like muscle through an injury. So that's 4 dice plus 1 for your help, and I'm going to take 2 out of mine because I'm going to put this at a 4.
Mm-hmm.
There it is. That is 4 hits exactly.
Yay!
I start to fall and I miss the ship that I'm jumping at, and then a gust of wind like carries me on top of it. And I just start like pounding on the glass of the basically the windshield. I start smashing it in, and I climb inside, and like I am perfectly on the ground, but people are getting pulled out of it. And I just grab hold of the steering controls, and I throw like a salute that you just barely see as I like turn this tiny ship around.
That's great.
All right, so we've got about like 2 or 3 ships left. Snargle is piloting as best he can.
Mm-hmm.
Cyrus is trying to engage one of them. There's one of them that is like speeding towards you, basically trying to ram you out of the sky. What do you do?
So I'm going to throw up my hands and completely give up on this gun nonsense.
Okay.
Because I have other stuff that's going to work just as well. So I'm going to stand just like out on the deck and start using magic to take these guys out. Okay. So I'm going to summon lightning strikes to take out. Yes. So Master Sorcerer, and then I'm going to use Spellcaster and Stormblood and Lightning.
Beautiful. Perfect.
Does that work?
Yeah,
okay, so that gives me 5 dice.
And I'll give you 1 because Snargle is trying to get you in like the perfect position.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to want to get a 4.
Okay, great. Here we go. I've got 4 successes.
Perfect.
4 hits.
It blows up, and at that moment you see a second explosion, and Cyrus's ship like sails underneath, and like starts sailing directly underneath. And Kale rolls out a rope ladder. Cyrus climbs it. The ship below just sinks into the abyss of the blue.
Mm-hmm.
climbs up, he's beaten, he's got just a massive black eye, and, like, he's clutching his jaw, and his jacket's torn up, and he's bloodied, and Cale just goes, another textbook Cyrus Vance success, then? Completely by the books.
So you look over, and there is Natasha, like, standing still in the middle of the deck, like, with her arms upraised. Her hair is being whipped by the wind, all of that dramatic look. And she catches sight of you, and she runs over. Are you all right?
Never been better. Like I said, by the books.
As I've heard people say, anyone that you can walk away from?
I may as well have that tattooed on my arm. The one that's, I can move. Oh, I can't move my arm. That's probably not great.
Are they all gone? Are we good? Can we get you some help? Is there anything that you need?
I'm just gonna take a nap. And he kind of walks back. Like, limps back. What do you do as you see him limping back?
I'm gonna run over and put one of his arms around my shoulders and help him.
Oh, is it the one that he can't move? Or is it the other one?
I hope it's the other one.
You throw the one, and he starts leaning real hard on you, like, okay, this is nice. Actually, this is pretty nice. I accept this. And I think the last thing that we see is the two of you, like, walking off. You lay him down in the bed. And I think as the rest of the crew watches, I think Naomi walks over to Cale and crosses her arms and is like, is this going to be a thing? Yes, I suspect this will be a thing. And then we watch the two of them walk off, and I think that is game.
Yay!
Until next time.
Oh, that was super fun.
That was a lot of fun. Oh my goodness, I loved that.
That was great. Oh my gosh, I'm grinning from ear to ear right now. That was
super fun. Shannon, thank you so much for coming on Party of One. That was a blast.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time.
So, real quick, before we wrap up, where can people find you and your work online?
Okay, I am on Twitter at PluckyPen, PLUCKY Pen, and the podcast, The Room Where It Happened. We're on both Instagram and Twitter as at RoomWherePod, and you can find us on Podbean, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. This was a delight. And I am going to throw it over to me in the future so that he can wrap up with the show.
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Take it, future me. Thanks, past me. And thanks again to Shannon for coming on the show. That game was just beautiful. Just a true beautiful piece of high fantasy romance that I will treasure for the rest of my days. Be sure to check the show notes for more information about The Room Where It Happened, as well as Lady Blackbird. And, of course, be sure to follow Shannon on Twitter at PluckyPen. Then while you're on Twitter, follow us at Party of One Pod, then like the show on Facebook at facebook.com/partyofonepodcast. Join our Discord community at bit.ly/partyofonediscord. And if you really enjoy the show, consider leaving us a nice iTunes review, giving us a social media shout out, or just telling a friend about the show, because any of those things help new listeners find the show, which helps us do bigger, better, and cooler things. And after you've done all of that, if you're thinking, gosh, I just wish I had one more podcast a week to listen to Jeff talk on, boy do I have the podcast for you. All My Fantasy Children is a character creation, storytelling, and world-building podcast powered by listener prompts. Every week, my best friend Aaron Catano-Sias and I take a listener-submitted prompt, spin it into an original fantasy character, and populate a shared universe one story at a time. New episodes drop every Friday at allmyfantasychildren.com. Party of One is, as always, produced and edited by Jeff Stormer and Jen Frank. All music for the show comes from the song Infinite Lives by Megaran, featuring the D&D Sluggers. Interested in coming on the show? Whether you are a podcaster, a game designer, a professional wrestler, a writer, an actor, a comedian, a musician, a film critic, a kaiju, a financial guru, or you just love a good role-playing game, you should shoot me an email at partyofonepodcast@gmail.com. And that's it for me. Until next time, thank you so much for listening. Remember to fight the forces of fascism every single day. Today that means by going out and voting. Remember that self-love and self-care are radical and defiant acts of resistance. And as always, party on, everybody.